All right, let's talk about some advanced content tools. And so this is probably, we're moving into the more sophisticated part of Content Hub. And there are going to be more tools going to be introduced, but let's talk about a few and some of the things that people love. First one is content staging. And this allows you to create completely new pages, even completely new websites in content staging without affecting your live website. So there's no chance of it accidentally turning up in Google, no chance of being published by another member of the team because it's a whole separate section and it's well hidden under a button. And you don't need to disrupt your current website or work. And so this has been one of those things when this has happened with customers, is like, this is a good opportunity to introduce them to the content staging tool and tell them to work in there when they're doing their things. So it's a little hidden away. It's under the more tools, content staging, and then you can access it. And you know what? It's one of those underrated features. But I think, you know what I've seen as we've introduced it for people, and they go and they've changed the way they think and the way they go through their workflow, they actually become really dependent on this tool to manage their website publishing. So they know how to work well out of the content staging tool.
It is really good when you get used to it. And yeah, there's a whole log of things going live. So it's really good. I'll tell you one thing that I love about it is that when you publish or push from staging to live, HubSpot takes care of all the URLs.
It does.
And redirects. So you might have, I've got this page that I'm testing in staging. It's got staging links within the content and the menu and that. You push it live, HubSpot updates all those staging links to be the live publish links. It's great. Now you might say, yeah, of course it should do that. I agree, of course it should do that. But if you've used other tools, part of the go live process is often, we've got to run a script over our new pages that have gone live to update staging references to publish reference. And it's like, no. And HubSpot takes care of that for you.
Yeah. And be aware that if you've hard coded something, it's not going to change that. If it's referencing pages and posts and things within HubSpot, it does know about that. So don't get caught out by that little.
That's right. If you've got some custom JavaScript that hard codes the staging URL, it's not going to be that smart, but yeah.
But again, it's the 1% that makes all the tests, all the difference. Okay, we're talking about A/B and multivariate testing. These are testing variations of your pages, and it's in there. Tells you some really quick. The A/B testing is a 50-50 split between, and that's probably the most commonly used one. Deductive testing has been probably the least used, but Craig, you'll see here are some of the things that HubSpot actually tells you can test. You can test things like CTAs, the copy on your page, the media you use. So, one might be a static image, one might be a video, or even the layout of your page. So these are the kind of things you can do that up to 5 page variations to test those different things within HubSpot.
I'm pretty sure that adaptive testing automatically chooses the winner, right? So you can almost just set it up, let it loose, and it'll work it out.
Correct.
And whereas A/B testing, you, I think, have to decide or you choose one.
Actually, that's a good question. Yeah, you choose the winner based on the test results, like it says right there.
Yeah.
So, and actually adaptive, it actually is interesting. You can see on that screenshot, it actually says performs, I think it ends up working out which is working and starts showing those winners to the people.
Yeah.
As they're, it's
like I think the difference, just for listeners maybe a bit confused, is with adaptive, it's changing elements on a page as opposed to 2 different pages.
Correct.
But then it chooses the elements, and whatever the combination of elements that works the best, bang, it just pushes that after it's reached statistical significance.
That's right. And the thing to note is adaptive tests are not supported on pages with smart content. So if you've got smart content on a page, you can't use an adaptive test.
That would make sense.
All right. Using Hubble in pages, Craig. What on earth is Hubble?
Yeah, Hubble is HubSpot's markup language, and you can use it in pages and emails. Look, it's not a full programming language, but includes basics, variables, functions, if statements, etc. We've used it in a couple of pages to build simple content functionality, all right, as opposed to process functionality. And I'll give you an example. This is a page from one of my wife's sites. It's just an organize in 5 organizing tip. And what this does is just shows a new tip every day. So you visit this one URL and it's got a new tip, 5-minute tip every day. That's all just coded in Hubble. I've got some screenshots there. It just pulls it in from Hubble. We've just got one file in the background. It's got 365 different pieces of content, and then based on the date, just works it out, shows it. Great thing. You can use that in emails as well, which is what we do. We send a daily email. It's great. And there's a screenshot with the code. You can see it's just making a reference to a Hubble page and an actual variable within Hubble there. Very easy to set up. We've had this running for years. It's fantastic. Such a time saver.
I remember when you did this, Craig, it was quite a revolutionary and probably still is. Thinking
Maybe.
the way it happens.
I don't think people use this much, but it's great for just quickly building content bits. We used to do things like this for, actually I won't go too much into it, but how we showed various team members and things like that.
Yes.
We could just based on
So talking about team members, we can do that in HubDB now.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What's HubDB?
So HubDB is HubSpot's simple built-in database. And you can think of it a bit like a spreadsheet. In this, if you're looking at the show notes, you can see it just looks like a table, keeping a list of assets and where things are located. And in anything, I think of it like just a file format, right? But what it does enable you to do is easily update it, firstly, and then be able to quickly pull it out onto different pages. And so this is another way. This is an example from a customer of ours where they host events and they actually store all of the HubDB, all the people that are speaking in a HubDB table. And what's great about that is they can reuse those profiles across multiple pages, because what they end up doing is these people talk across different streams. And so they just have a single HubDB entry, and then they say, here are the streams people are speaking from. And then it gets pulled into the different pages as needed. So a great way to organize and manage data quickly. And you can see inside a HubSpot page, it calls it a dynamic page, and it'll say, where do I need to get the data from? And that's the actual HubDB table that it's getting the data from. Tell us about multiple sites, Craig.
I think this is a great feature in HubSpot. You can manage multiple sites. I think I don't forget how many we've got in our portal, probably close to 20 now, but we've got all our brand sites and things and just microsites and stuff we run. And also the HubShots site as well. And as well as hosting various sites, various domains, you can also have various sending domains, all that kind of stuff. So for companies that have more than one brand, or they want to spin up microsites and things like that, HubSpot's Content Hub is a great way to manage that. And it's not only the sites, it's also blogs. And blogs go one step further. You can have multiple blogs. You can actually have multiple blogs per domain.
That's true.
So you might think, what? That's weird. Why would you do that? Well, a simple example might be, for our one site, we're going to have a blog that's news. We've got a separate blog that just mentions people. We've got another blog that might mention specific assets or events, things like that. And because you use tagging, you can then in various places in your site say, I'm just going to pull from my events blog, tagged a certain location and put it here. So very flexible. I just love that about HubSpot. I mean, you can't really do that with many other content tools that I'm aware of. And most people don't know this. So incredibly flexible. We use it a lot. We've got tons of sites and blogs, as I mentioned.
All right, now we're going to talk about membership tools, and this is considered private content. HubSpot has the functionality built into its pages, so you can set it to require a password. You could require people to register. So a password could be, for example, you tell everybody that who are your members, just use this one password, right? So everybody uses the same password. The registration, on the other hand, requires them to register. They'll have their own login details. And then there's also an option for members of the organization to use the single sign-on access feature. And then on top of that, here's something that is relatively new in terms of blog posts membership. Now available is you can let people have access to entire blog posts if they're members, and then people that aren't members can only see the preview, which was interesting because I knew it couldn't be done before, but now it can, Craig.
I think this is so handy. This, by the way, on WordPress, we've built sites where we've had special plugins and functionality to put this in place. It's just all built in out of the box now.
Correct. And then again, you could also do based on membership groups or a list in this respect. So that's the next part. So a great way to organize and access your content.